John Eimen, child star of Leave It to Beaver, passes away at 76. A freckle-faced redhead called John Eimen won people over with his youthful charm and wide-eyed innocence during the heyday of American television, when black and white televisions flickered in living rooms across the country. John Eimen, a child actor whose brief but unforgettable career lighted up shows like Leave It to Beaver and The Twilight Zone, died on November 21st, 2025, at his home in Mukilteo, Washington. He was well known to millions as a classmate of the Beaver himself. He was 76. Following a brief fight with prostate cancer, Eimen's family announced his death on social media, and his longtime attorney Harlan Bowl confirmed it. The illness, which had only been diagnosed 2 months prior in September 2025, spread quickly, depriving him of the peaceful retirement he had earned after decades of different experiences, from the skies above international routes to Japanese classrooms and Hollywood soundstages. In a statement, John's family said, "John faced his illness with the same quiet strength he brought to everything. He leaves behind a legacy that touched generations with his kindness, curiosity, and love of storytelling." Eimen was born in Chicago, Illinois, on January 2nd, 1949, and his early years were characterized by the buzz of post-war optimism. When he was a toddler, his family moved to the Los Angeles region, settling in the sunny suburbs that would later come to represent the idealistic family sitcoms of the 1950s. Young John had no idea that his journey to fame would start in the back row of his first-grade class at a nearby elementary school rather than on a casting couch. That's when fate stepped in 1956. The bright-eyed boy with the mop of red hair and freckles that shouted, "All-American Kid Next Door," was seen by Eimen's teacher's buddy, a talent agency looking for new faces. The teacher spoke to John's parents when the agent approached her. Despite their initial reluctance, John's mother was a homemaker and his father was a mechanic. They decided to allow their son to try out. Eimen entered the world of child fame at the age of 6. It was a world of bright lights, scripted lines, and the excitement of pretend play that was more lucrative than any allowance. In October 1957, he made his television debut on the premiere episode of the CBS sitcom, Leave It to Beaver, which would go on to become a cultural icon of the time. The episode, titled "It's a Small World," introduced viewers to the Cleaver family, Hugh Beaumont's wise and patient Ward, Barbara Billingsley's helpful June, Tony Dow's older brother Wally, and Jerry Mather's mischievous Theodore Beaver Cleaver. Despite having a supporting role, Eimen's portrayal of one of Beaver's classmates put him front and center in a moment that encapsulated the heart of the show, harmless schoolyard pranks interspersed with subtle moral messages. For the young actor filming, that pilot was a revelation. In a 2018 interview with the Classic Conversations podcast, Eimen remembered, "I remember the set smelt like fresh paint and coffee. Jerry Mathers had a lot of energy and was constantly making jokes. Everyone was really nice, even though I was afraid I might forget my lines. It was like being a member of a large, strange family." Even though he only had a few lines and a laugh track cue, the episode was well received by critics and launched Leave It to Beaver into a 6-season run that combined compassionate parenting advice with humor. Throughout the series, Eimen made a few cameos, usually as a school friend, involved in Beaver's most recent plot, such as when he assisted in hiding a frog in the teacher's desk. For Eimen, Leave It to Beaver was more than simply a job. It was a master class in the art of television. Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher developed the program, which focused on concepts of integrity, accountability, and familial ties and was inspired by their own suburban experiences. Eimen blended in perfectly with this world. Because of his innate friendliness, he developed enduring ties with Mathers off camera by bonding over comic books and baseball cards. Mathers honored John on Facebook decades later, saying, "John was the real deal, a good kid who grew into an even better man. On that set, we laughed a lot together. Rest easy, dear friend." Due to his early success, Eimen was able to land a number of supporting parts in popular westerns and dramas, which dominated primetime at the time. He played a small troublemaker opposite John Forsythe's bachelor uncle on Bachelor Father in 1958. He appeared on The Rebel that same year, playing the innocent, wide-eyed character that contrasted with Nick Adams's grim frontier stories. He was frequently portrayed as the courageous sidekick or the voice of young curiosity because of his red hair and freckles, which made him stick out in black and white. Eimen's resume was growing by 1959. He first appeared in Richard Boone's cerebral Western have-gun, Will Travel, when he delivered lines with an early composure that belied his age. In an episode about misplaced family heirlooms, Eimen traveled with John Ford's legendary group in Wagon Train. Then came Robert Stack's brutal crime film, The Untouchables, in which the boyish Eimen offered some humor amid the bootlegger busts. His Western phase was completed with Lawman and Angel, each of which sharpened his emotional range and timing. However, Eimen's greatest break, as well as a near miss, came in 1962. At the age of 13, he was cast as a series regular on NBC's military school sitcom Beaver and the Colonel, which was produced by former child star turned director Jackie Cooper. Eimen portrayed Cadet Monk Roberts, Scott Lane's freckled best friend Gary McKeever, navigating parades and practical jokes, while Colonel Harvey Wilson, Joe E. Ross, kept a close eye on him. The show, which ran for one season from 1962 to 1963, combined Beaver-style heart with Gomer Pyle humor, and Eimen's chemistry with Lane was a highlight. Later, Eimen said, "Monk was me, but funnier. We would spend hours coming up with jokes that didn't end up in the script." McKeever was a family business behind the scenes. The youthful cast was taught by Cooper, who had starred in Skippy when he was 9 years old. Cooper shared battle stories from his time with Our Gang. Eimen took in everything, learning not only lines but also the workings of the entertainment industry, including union regulations, residuals, and the transient nature of celebrity. As tastes shifted towards more edgy content like The Defenders, the series came to an end after 32 episodes. However, it solidified Eimen's reputation as a preferred young actor. The opposite side of fame was very apparent. Eimen was chosen to play Jane Wyman's son in a planned Desilu production, a medical soap opera akin to Dr. Kildare, in 1961. Days before production began, the Oscar winner, who had just finished The Blue Veil, withdrew, claiming artistic disagreements. In subsequent years, Eimen dismissed the show's near miss, saying, "It hurt then, but it taught me resilience. Hollywood is like a river. You can float and sink at different moments." In 1962, Eimen played the most eerie part in Rod Serling's collection of the paranormal, The Twilight Zone. Eimen portrayed a youngster scared by urban voodoo curses in the Charles Beaumont-written episode The Jungle, with his wide eyes heightening the paranormal fear. Filming on Serling's darkly lit sets with creepy sound effects and fog machines created a lasting impression. Eimen said, "Rod was intense but kind. He would clarify the metaphors and give you the impression that you were a part of something greater than television." John Danner plays a skeptical architect haunted by tribal ghosts in this episode, which is still a fan favorite. Eimen's performance is commended for its unadulterated sensitivity. Additional credits included a role as a farmhand sidekick on Petticoat Junction and modeling jobs that put him on the cover of Life magazine on October 2, 1959, marketing milk long before the got milk craze. However, the roles diminished by his mid-teens. Eimen's uncomfortable puberty phase, which saw him grow to 5'10" and lose his childish lilt, reduced his appeal as the attractive kid. His final film credit was a small role in a forgettable Western pilot in 1969. He hung up his cowboy boots at the age of 20, giving up spotlights in favor of more stable terrain. Eimen used his youthful wanderlust to rebuild himself after leaving Hollywood. He traveled around Europe on foot in the late 1960s before settling in Japan because of its unique blend of modernism and heritage. At a jazz bar in Shibuya in 1973, he met Midori, an aspiring artist and resident of Tokyo. Hikes in the Japanese Alps, late-night conversations about postponed dreams, and English lessons over ramen were all part of their multicultural courting. They settled in Yokohama after getting married in 1974 in a straightforward ceremony that included Western vows with Shinto rituals. Eimen taught English in foreign schools for more than 10 years, calming kids who were afraid of gaijin teachers with his freckled face and easy chuckle. However, he was drawn back to performing by music. He started a folk rock group called the Redheads, which was inspired by his hair. They performed in foreign pubs and put out a self-produced record with both original and cover songs. Small but devoted audiences were drawn to songs like Freckled Sky, a melancholic ballad about lost innocence. In a 2005 interview, he declared, "Japan gave me freedom. My old Beaver clips were ignored. I was only the guitarist, John. He was anchored by his family." Born in Japan and brought up bilingually, the sons Daniel and Chris arrived in the late 1970s. Chris, 42, teaches high school history in Portland, while Daniel, at 45, is a software programmer in Seattle. The delight of Eimen's final years were his grandsons Lucas, 12, and Oliver, 9, who spoilt them with tales of zone monsters and TV cowboys. His 51-year wife, Midori, was his constant. She painted watercolors of their trips and unquestioningly supported his whims. By the middle of the 1990s, homesickness was a problem. The family relocated to Washington State, close to Puget Sound, after returning to the United States. Eimen, who was always flexible, started working as a flight attendant for a large airline and worked on foreign routes for 25 years. When he retired in 2020 at the age of 71, he charmed travelers with stories like Mather's frog antics or Serling's ashtray habit while flying from Tokyo to New York. He thought, the job was perfect. No one asks for autographs when you see the world and meet everyone. Retirement was peaceful. Fishing on Lake Washington in the mornings, playing an antique guitar in the afternoons, and watching old MeTV episodes with Midori in the evenings. Eimen made contact with Beaver's co-stars again, going to reunions where gray-haired Medicare tips were exchanged by Wallies. Fame's a guest, not a landlord, he counseled aspiring performers over Zoom. Create a life that goes beyond the credits. The cancer was then discovered in September 2025 during a routine examination. Antigen levels specific to the prostate increased. Biopsies verified stage 5, which had spread to the bones. Hormone therapy and chemotherapy provided months rather than years of treatment. Eimen accepted it with a stoic demeanor, refusing media attention till the very end. He told his family, I've had a full script. Encores are not necessary. Tributes poured in. John's laugh could light a set, said Jerry Mathers. There's a new storyteller in heaven. Jackie Cooper's estate. He was McKeever's heart. One popular post, from Beaver's class to the zone's shadows, John Eimen, eternal kid at heart, received 50,000 likes after fans posted snippets on X, previously Twitter. With Eimen's demise, a chapter in Hollywood's innocent past, when TV prioritized manners over chaos, comes to an end. However, his journey from kid celebrity to global citizen serves as a reminder that the best roles aren't predetermined. They are lived. In Mukilteo, Midori, Daniel, Chris, Lucas, and Oliver lament a guy who gracefully traversed sound stages and oceans beneath gray November skies. According to his requests, services will remain private. Contributions to the Prostate Cancer Foundation pay tribute to his battle. One line sticks out as John Eimen's credits roll. A boy's freckled smile reflected Ward Cleaver's wisdom. The lessons we leave behind are more important in life than the beaver dams we construct.